control the vertical.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthologic with your host Mark. Today joined by Sam. Hi Sam.
Hey.
So this
Hello.
is an Outer Limits. You usually come on for an Outer Limits, don't you? And Night Gallery. Yeah.
Outer Limits Night Gallery am I?
Yeah, I've got your name against a few others at some point when we get to those, but they'll be one-offs, whereas this is more like a regular thing. Right, so this is, I think, the fourth? Hold on, I need to check now. Fourth episode. Fourth episode. It was actually produced 8th, but it is the 4th episode aired. Now, interesting one. This was called The Man with the Power. Features
What
Donald.
power?
And it's Donald Pleasance, right? Donald Pleasance in this one in an early role. Interestingly, bizarrely, I was listening to a podcast this week, a very one that's just landed with Gilbert Gottfried, who interviews all these old actors and writers and stuff from a golden era of Hollywood, and he had David McCallum on. It was really interesting. It is in fact in the next episode of The Outer Limits we're going to cover, an episode called Sixth Finger. But David McCallum explained how he got to be on The Outer Limits, and he said there was a host of us British actors working on a film called The Greatest Story Ever Told, which is the story of Jesus. And in that one, Max von Sydow's Jesus, right? It's that film. But there was a lot of British actors in it, including Donald Pleasance, who was Satan, believe it or not.
Okay.
So I kind of want to see that film. And David McCallum was Judas. And he said the guys from The Outer Limits kind of heard we had all these British actors a loose end because the wrap up had just finished, but they hadn't quite. I don't think the premiere had happened, so they managed to recruit them for episodes of The Outer Limits. So that is how. This is my roundabout way of explaining how Donald Pleasance ended up on The Outer Limits. He'd finished a movie. It was a loose end, and they kind of said, "Oh man, we got this part for you." And then that's how David McCallum became involved. So that's why Donald Pleasance is in this episode. What did you think of the episode?
It was okay. It wasn't great, but
yeah, you're not thinking it's Outer Limits, are you?
It's way less punchy than Night Gallery or Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
it just sort of ends on a sort of nicer note, like someone saves the day, someone.
There's always a moral, isn't there?
Yeah,
but the Twilight Zone does the same.
Twilight Zone there's a lot of episodes where it's like, hey, fuck you, it's sad.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. A Night Gallery is always pretty much dark, isn't it? Not always, but often. Whereas with this, there's a morality there. Now this one starts with we get a little cut scene of the actual middle of the episode, don't we? Which some of the others did as well. I don't think they do that anymore from this point on, but I could be wrong because this was recut in different.
It made me so confused.
It is confusing.
I was like, oh, is there some sort of cloud hunting people down? No, it was just a scene from the middle of the film.
But we do get the whole scene of him being told to go up a certain road. Being denied going up a certain road, so he has to drive an extra 12 miles. But then this weird electric cloud attacks them. Now, what do you think of that effect?
It it was of its time, very of
Yeah,
its
I
time. It
quite
was pretty
liked it.
cool,
It was
but
pretty cool. It was apparently what they did is he had a bit of film. The special effects guy had a bit of film of like an electrostatic, electric. What would you call it? Like electric arc.
yeah.
But it was only a little one. But then he blew it up to be big, and then he superimposed it over ink being poured into water.
Okay.
So that's how they did that effect, and I thought it was kind of a cool effect. But essentially, we find this. The whole story is this sad little man who's like a college professor at a second-rate college. He describes it, who just wants to do his bit, but life, like everyone pushes him around, don't they? That's the thing. Everyone kind of pushes him around. And he kind of takes it. His wife has got no respect for him, and she just nags him. The dean of the college kind of basically bullies him, doesn't he? When he says he wants to do something better, and all he wants to do is something better to, make a state, give some good to the world. That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
But it turns out he's had a brain operation to put this gate link in his head, and this weird gate. There's no explanation for any of this. He kind of invented this thing, and then managed to persuade NASA, I think, to do the op. And then it turns out he can direct his mind. So this is almost like a precursor to things like Firestarter and films where telekinesis become a thing, right? But there's this rational reason. And it's all about the space race, isn't it? Interesting that this is like 63, but the space race is... It's obviously in the zeitgeist, and it's a major sort of American thing, isn't it? Winning the space race by plundering the minerals out there in space and using some technique to smash up comets and stuff, using the power of the mind. That's what it's all about. But they don't contend with the subconscious. This is basically almost like a remake of Forbidden Planet, I think. Have you ever seen Forbidden Planet?
No, I haven't.
That's a film about someone finding some alien tech that increases your brain power massively, and he does it. But unfortunately, that also then gives him the powers to create something called the monster of the id. An invisible but physical personification of his inner id, which has got no controls, no rational. It's entirely subconscious, and that's what happened here. So basically, they were riffing on Forbidden Planet.
Okay.
What do you think of Donald Pleasance?
He was weirdly creepy in this, but not for his usual intense reasons. Normally he's kind of intense, like in Halloween sort of thing.
Yeah. It's
and in this he was like weirdly mute. Although I guess that's the point.
Yeah, he was.
So.
He's a henpecked little man, isn't he? But he has this. It turns out he has this whipper. I thought he was really good, actually. I think he was. I mean, there wasn't a bad actor in this, really, was there? They're all reasonably good actors. But man, Donald Pleasance was really on his game. I thought, anyway. I thought I think maybe it was just his presence, his personality, his charisma was coming through this. But I thought it was really, really a good episode. And I find this quite a memorable episode. This is one of the ones I remember quite distinctly all the way through from it the first time I saw it. I remember staying up late one Friday night and just watching this episode, and I thought it was really cool, actually. I really quite liked it. Other actors in it, though, we had... His wife was Priscilla Morel. She was just fed up with him, wasn't she? That was the thing. She thought he was dreaming when he was talking about going to NASA and why would he give up his job and all this. I haven't seen this lady in much, but she looked kind of familiar. I did find she was in one episode of Kolchak.
Okay.
She was in the one about the witches. Do you remember Trevi Collection? Do you remember that one? She was obviously would have been one of the older ladies in it, but she was in that.
From what I remember, that was a bunch of old ladies running around in dark cloaks. So
so she was kind of indistinct. But yeah, you can kind of see her in that. The other guy in this, well, there was a couple of guys who were kind of interested. There was one guy, basically it was the NASA scientist, is really what I'm getting at. The first one he goes to is Dr. Keenan, who's the dark-haired one, who's sort of saying, are you sure you want to do this? Now, I was thinking, I kind of know him from somewhere, but I checked his filmography. Not really. But you know what? I realised what it was. He reminds me of in Kolchak, Simon Oakland in Kolchak, Vincenzo from Kolchak. It's got that vibe about him. So that's what I was thinking of. And the other actor that was significant that I definitely recognised was called Dr. Hindman. He was like the medical guy. He was talking through his mental stuff. Now that guy, I thought I recognised him, but I'll double check, and it was him. He was in The Godfather. He was the guy that woke up with the horse's head in his bed.
Okay.
So and he's been in quite a few things actually. He's kind of a recognisable face. But I thought all round the acting was okay. But you weren't so taken with the
weird because like I said, normally he's quite intense. But in this, he acted and sounded kind of like droopy, and it was weirdly off-putting.
Yeah, and he'd been pretty much oppressed all his life. Is the feeling he got? Like everyone, like the Dean was a right dick to him. Yeah, but the Dean got vaporized pretty much.
Yeah.
And his wife was. I like the scene where his wife was terrified and sort of saying
that was really weird because she started talking about children and.
Well,
what was going on there?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't want to have children with him, and he wanted children, so she was terrified he'd destroy her. And he said, "No, I won't." But subconsciously, there's probably a problem there if she kind of stopped. He wanted children, she didn't. They're just using it as a shorthand psychological, showing there's a difference between the two, I think. What do you think at the end? Where he actually goes bananas?
Well, he didn't really go bananas. He just sort of committed suicide.
No. Well, he stops them doing it to someone else. He realises what it does, and he stops them doing it to someone else. He pretty much vapourises the medical team, doesn't he?
Well, he definitely vapourises himself. But the medical team was sort of get away.
Yeah, and the astronaut was being... I wasn't sure if he was dead, but then he moved. So it's like, okay, he's all right then. The astronaut who was going to be sort of operated on to have this thing. It's a hell of a device, and presumably they've got a copy of it because they were about to put someone in someone's head. But it does always sound like that. So not too taken with this episode from the sound of it.
Nah, not really.
Oh dear, I hope we could do better. The next one.
Yeah.
The writers, I believe, let me just check. Yeah, I could see this was a precursor to lots of other things, as I say, like Firestarter and Carrie and the whole telekinetic. I don't remember any stories before this involving telekinesis, except The Forbidden Planet, in fact. I can't think of any in films or TV before this. Maybe there's some in the Twilight Zone, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, there is one in the Twilight Zone where this kid's got sort of total power, mental power over everything. He just wants something to happen and it does, and everyone's terrified of it. It's called It's a Wonderful Life, so there is some precedent for that. But so I thought it was kind of nice to see Donald Pleasance myself. So, would you recommend this one then, or not?
No, not really.
No. It's just I usually give the sort of some of the details which I've sort of skipped, which was it first aired October the 7th, 1963. So it's a fair age, this one now. And it was the 4th episode aired. Okay, let's wind it up there. So bye from me.
Bye.
And may I ask, is anybody out there?
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to